So today we're going to be making our V wall hanging. So in your package you will have 4 8-foot strands, and that's what we're going to start with, and we're going to make the spirals that are going to go on the outside. The reason we're starting with those is we're going to put them in the middle, and then when you're making them you can make sure they're even, and then we'll be sliding them out. So this one's already made, but I'll show you how we did it. So you're going to take your 8-foot cord, and most of the time you're going to be folding your cord in half, but this time we're going to measure to 24 inches and we're going to fold it at 24 inches. So you're going to end up having one side quite a bit shorter than the other, and you're going to attach it using a lark's head. So you're going to put it over, make sure it's not twisted, that it's flat. So you go over, then reach through with your thumb and pointer, pinch this, hold this in place because otherwise you're going to change the length that you already have, and pull through and tight. So that's a lark's head knot. The loop is on the front. So now we're going to take our second cord, and again we're going to fold it at 24 inches. So now we have to make sure that our 2 short strands are in the center. So there's my short strand. I have to make sure my other short strand is in the center. So you can see I'm going to have to flip it so that this is a short strand and this is a short strand in the middle. So I go over, reach through with my thumb and pointer finger and pinch it, hold it here, and pull through. And I'm going to put them next to each other. So now when I do it, you can see my 2 short strands are in the middle. The reason these are shorter is they're just filler cords. You're really not doing anything with them. These are your working cords on the outside. So we're going to be making this spiral knot. And sometimes it's called spiral, sometimes it's called a half square knot. So what you do is you take your left cord and you put it on top of your middle cords and pinch it, and it looks like a number 4. So I went over those 2 cords and I'm pinching. Then I'm going to take my right cord, go over the tail, in behind and through. And then I'm going to pull my 2 outside cords, making sure my middle cords are tight. I'll do another one. So I'm going to go over, behind, and through. So just remember when you're doing that, over, behind, and through. And I'm going to always use my left cord, and that's what gives it the spiral effect. So I'll do a few and then I'll show you. When it starts to spiral, it starts to kind of get cumbersome. Like, I don't want to twist my hand like this. So you can drop it and I can grab it. Just always make sure you're going over with your left cord. So you do not have to, I'll finish this one. You don't have to do this and try to keep it straight. Just let it twist, but just always make sure it's your left cord that you are going over with. And you're just going to go up to the next knot above it. You don't have to pull super tight, but you don't want a big gap between your 2 knots. So when you're doing it, just make sure that you're pulling evenly on both outside cords. Don't pull on one more than the other, because then it's going to bunch up and it's not going to have that nice spiral effect. So just make sure when you're pulling, I'm pulling with both cords, and every once in a while you got to pull this down, and I'm going to come down 5 inches. So I've come down 5 inches, and the reason that we're doing it right next to each other is now it's really easy to make them even, whereas if we were doing them out here it'd be more difficult. So then I'm going to take my 2 middle cords and I'm going to twist them together, and the bead has a nice big hole. You can just feed it through, push it up, and then you're going to continue making your half square or spiral knots. This one, you can see that the 2 outside cords are on the outside of the bead. And now I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to go down for another 4 inches, 4 inches from the bottom of the bead to the last half square. So I have my 2 spirals done, and I want to now take them to my outside. So you're going to come in 1.5 inches from the dowel. So I'm going to slide it over, and so you want 1.5 inches from your end of your dowel to the cord, and you're going to do that on both ends. So now we're going to go on to the cords in the center. So you will have 2 that are at 3 feet, 2 at 4 feet, 2 at 5 feet, and 2 at 5.5 feet. I've just looped them over. So you can either start in the center or the outside, but you're going to be making a V shape. So you'll have the 2 3s on the outside, then the 2 4s, then the 2 5s, and then the 2 5.5s. So because the 5.5s are close to me, I'm going to start with that. We're going to make lark's heads again, but this time we are going to fold it in half. So this is my 5.5. So I'm going to go over, pinch, pinch at the rod, and pull. So that's a 5.5. I'm going to put my other 5.5 right next to it. So I'm going to fold it in half, over, pinch, bring it through. Okay, so there's my 2 5.5s. Now I'm going to go to my 5, fold it in half. I'm going to go on this side, and then I'm going to put my other 5 here, and then 4 and 3. So I've moved my S hooks out to the edge. And talking about this, if you have a portable clothes rack, that's what we're using here with S hooks. You can get S hooks at hardware stores all around the place like that. Can you get them here? Yep. At Reflection? Can you buy them at Reflection too? No. Okay. So what I've done is, as before, these are in 1.5 inches here. So then I've slid 2 of my cords to either end. So this is the 3 foot, this is the 4 foot, this is the 5, 5.5, 5.5, 5, 4, 3. So I've slid them over to my spirals, and then between these 2, it's approximately 2 3/4 inches from this cord to this cord. You might have to adjust a little bit. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make square knots. And now that you've made a half square knot, this will be easy for you. So I'm going to start off the same way. I'm going to go over, over, behind and through. But now I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to go with my right over. So I'm going to go over, pinch, over, behind and through. And that is 1 square knot. And because we're going from both sides, it won't spiral. So you're going to do that over, over, behind and through on the left, over, over, behind and through on the right. Remember to pull evenly on both outside cords. I'm going to do that with all 4 sets. Okay, so I have 4 square knots. Now we're going to make alternating square knots, which means you take 2 cords from one square knot, 2 cords from the other square knot, and you make another square knot. So I'll have 2 cords hanging here that I'm not going to use. And you want to have them even in the center. And you're going to come down 2 inches. So I'll just a little bit, approximately. You don't have to be. So there's 2 inches down. Going to make a square knot. And once you make your first one, you shouldn't have to measure each one, but if you want to, you can. So I'm going to take 2 from this, 2 from this. I'm gonna eyeball it with my other one. And if you want, two from here, two from here, these two will just hang. Once you make all three, you can always step back and see if they're even. Sandy, they look even?
Yep, they look even.
Okay. So I had 4, 3, now I'm going to make 2. So I'm going to take 2 from this one, 2 from this one. You will have 4 here. You're not going to use those. And again, I'm going to go down 2 inches. This time I am going to measure though, just to make sure. Yeah. Two from this, 2 from this. Leave these 4 hanging, you're not going to use those. And then I'm going to do 1 in the center, coming down 2 inches. I'm going to say that's about 2. And you're not doing anything with this. So you're going to have 4, 3, 2, 1. So now you will have 28 cords at 2 feet. And then after that, you will only have 1 cord left, and that's the 36 inch for the hanger. So now we're going to be making lark's head knots with all of those 28 cords. So you're going to fold them in half, and you're going to go over both these loops, here, here, here. Okay, so I'm going to go over both of these and make my lark's head. So you can see what it does. Remember, with your lark's head, you go over and you should see these loops. So I'm going to put 5 in this section, 5 in this section, and 4. So 4, 5, 5. So 5 here, 5 here, 4 here. So you will have 2 cords on the very outside that aren't part of those lark's heads. Lark's heads start here. So if you're wondering, yep, you want those there. So now I have my V made. I want to bring my spirals together. Because they're the same length, it's going to be easier to know where the center is. But I'm going to do another square knot, except I'm going to have 4 cords on the inside and 2 on the outside. It's a little bit cumbersome when you're doing the very first one. But then you're going to pull till you're at the bottom of each of them, and then it's that center. Okay? And I'll finish off my square knot. Now all of these are a different length. I'm going to take scissors. You don't have to make them all even, approximately even for now. We'll straighten them out later. I'm going to take my 4 middle cords. I'm going to twist them together. And because it's so much thicker, I'm going to use tape just on the end so I can get my last bead through them. And if you twist as you're going through, that helps. Push it up, and then I'm going to do another square knot underneath to hold that bead in place. And then you're basically onto your finishing touches. So I'm not going to actually make these all even. I'm going to cut this off. You can do as you wish. You can make them even if you want. But now I'm going to untwist them. So there's 3 threads in each cord. So I'm going to untwist them. And it's going to give it more of a tassel effect. So I'm going to do that with all of them. And then I would trim my ends again. If you want and you have a macrame brush, you could brush them out. So I've unraveled all of them. You can leave them with this look if you like, or you can use a comb or a macrame brush or a pet brush, and you can brush them out to give it that fluffy look. And then I'm going to trim it. Go right there. Okay. Now with your other ones, you can see that there's already a V made. You don't have to be really fussy to make sure that it's a perfect V, because it kind of has that shaggy look. So you can see the ones that I'm not cutting already have that. So what you can do with your other ones is you can just unravel them with your hand, or you can take your brush and just brush out the ends so you get that frayed look. So you would make it into your V, and then you have a hang cord, and it's 3 feet. You may not use all 3 feet. We just cut it so that you have that extra. We just use a knot, and you can either put on the outside or you could put it between these two. Knot it here, length you want, knot it here. We often move the knots to the back and hot glue them so that you can't see them, and then you're ready to hang it.